On June 22, 2025, 7 U.S. Air Force B-2 Spirit stealth bombers, along with a fleet of supporting aircraft, launched a top-secret strike deep into Iranian nuclear sites. The mission, codenamed Operation Midnight Hammer, targeted the heavily fortified nuclear facilities at Fordo, Natanz, and Isfahan. In total, 125 aircraft participated in the coordinated aerial assault. The B-2 bombers unleashed 14 30,000-pound GBU-57 massive ordnance penetrators, MOPs, marking the first operational use of these devastating bunker buster bombs. But what exactly was Operation Midnight Hammer, and how did President Donald Trump plan and execute one of the most covert and consequential missions in recent U.S. military history? To understand this high-stakes strategic operation, we must go back to the beginning. At exactly 6:50 a.m. on June 22, 2025, the world was stunned by a post from President Donald Trump. In it, he confirmed a successful strike on 3 of Iran's most fortified nuclear sites, Fordo, Natanz, and Isfahan. The operation, shrouded in secrecy, involved 7 U.S. Air Force B-2 Spirit stealth bombers that dropped 14 30,000-pound GBU-57 massive ordnance penetrator, MOP, bunker buster bombs on the Fordo and Natanz facilities. As later confirmed by defense analysts Pete Hegseth and Brett Kane, the strike marked the first operational use of the MOP, a weapon designed to burrow deep into fortified underground targets. In total, 125 aircraft participated in the aerial component of the mission, executing one of the most complex and high-risk operations in modern military history. The operation began under the cover of darkness in the early hours of June 21, 2025. From Whiteman Air Force Base in Missouri, a formation of B-2 Spirit stealth bombers lifted off in total secrecy, embarking on one of the most audacious long-range strike missions in modern military history. What followed was a masterclass in deception, a calculated ballet of stealth, misdirection, and overwhelming force. Shortly after takeoff, the strike package split into 2 groups. One formation, serving as a decoy, veered westward over the Pacific, making its way toward familiar U.S. outposts such as Anderson Air Force Base in Guam and possibly Diego Garcia in the Indian Ocean. The ruse was deliberate, meant to mislead global flight tracking systems, international media, and Iranian intelligence. Meanwhile, the main strike group, consisting of 7 B-2 bombers armed with GBU-57B massive ordnance penetrators, MOPs, quietly turned east. Their true destination, Iran's most heavily fortified nuclear facilities at Fordo, Natanz, and Isfahan. The real strike force embarked on a grueling 18-hour journey, part of a nearly 37-hour round-trip flight spanning thousands of miles. To stay aloft, the bombers relied on a series of meticulously timed mid-air refueling operations with Boeing KC-135 Stratotankers. These refuelings, conducted in international airspace, were the lifeline of the mission. As the bombers approached the Middle East, via air corridors over Lebanon, Syria, and Iraq, nations whose level of coordination or notification remains unknown, the mission entered its most critical phase. Moments before breaching Iranian airspace, the U.S. unleashed a full-spectrum electronic warfare assault. Fast-moving aircraft equipped with powerful jamming systems surged ahead of the bombers, blinding Iranian radar, scrambling surface-to-air missile defenses, and sowing chaos in enemy communications. At the same time, U.S. fighter jets and surveillance aircraft swept the region, hunting for any aerial or ground-based threats. Thanks to the B-2's stealth design and carefully choreographed flight profiles, the bombers slipped through undetected. Their primary target? The Fordo nuclear facility, one of the most secure and deeply buried sites in Iran's nuclear infrastructure. Fordo is protected by 6 tunnel entrances that burrow into the side of a mountain, leading to an underground uranium enrichment center. The enrichment chamber is carved roughly 200 meters into the mountain, concealed beneath layers of solid rock and terrain that grows steeper the closer one gets to the ridge. The site's topography itself acts as a defense mechanism. At the same elevation as the tunnel entrances, the chamber is shielded by nearly 40 meters of dense rock, posing a formidable challenge to conventional weapons. Standard bombs would be insufficient, but the U.S. brought something far more powerful. 6 of the 7 B-2 bombers carried the GBU-57B MOP, a 30,000-pound bunker buster designed for this very purpose. Their mission was to strike the mountain ridge directly above the underground facility, aiming to punch through the rocky armor and disrupt Iran's nuclear capabilities. Simultaneously, at least 6 tunnel entrances were also targeted to cripple access and escape routes. Post-strike satellite imagery and weapons analysis confirmed devastating results. At least 3 of the 4 main entrances showed significant structural damage. Massive craters scarred the terrain, indicating direct hits and probable destruction within the internal infrastructure. But the assault didn't end there. Roughly 1 hour before the B-2s entered Iranian airspace, a U.S. Navy submarine, lurking silently in the region, launched over 30 Tomahawk cruise missiles. Their target? The nuclear facility at Isfahan. The simultaneous air and sea assault overwhelmed Iranian defenses, spreading confusion and delaying any coordinated response. At 6:40 p.m. Eastern Time, 2:10 a.m. in Iran, the lead B-2 bomber released 2 massive ordnance penetrators over Fordo. In the 25 minutes that followed, 14 MOPs were dropped across Fordo and Natanz, hammering the underground complexes with precise, earth-shattering force. Simultaneously, Tomahawk missiles slammed into Isfahan with lethal accuracy. With their deadly payloads delivered and their objectives achieved, the B-2s turned west and quietly vanished into the night sky, just as they had come. Not a single aircraft was lost, not a trace left behind. It's all about Operation Midnight Hammer. Thank you for watching, and please do subscribe and hit the notification bell for more videos.